So we proceed here. So welcome again to the GIS training. This is day 3, and we are going to be looking at georeferencing. We are going to be looking at georeferencing using ArcGIS because the major software for this training is ArcGIS. And when we are done, we might also explore the use of QGIS. So now, for you to be able to georeference in ArcGIS, there are basic things which you need. And those basic things which you need are they are the map which you are going to be georeferencing, one. Then you are going to be looking at the georeferencer, which is a tool in the GIS environment. Georeferencer is a tool in GIS environment. So let me share my screen so that we can see this. So now, when you look at this map right here, you can see that this particular map has a grid. It has a grid around it, as against the other one, which is this one that doesn't have a grid on it. So this one doesn't have a grid, but it has a coordinate system inside. So often at times, you are going to see maps like this. So those maps like this they are more in numbers than the one with the grid. So we are going to be looking at how we can be able to georeference any of these maps which we are going to meet, whether with a grid or without grid. And probably later in the course, we are going to also explore how we can be able to georeference the one that doesn't have any notation or any coordinate around it at all. Now, we are going to start with this, okay? We are going to be starting with this. So, for us to be able to do that, we are going to open up our ArcGIS. And when you open up your ArcGIS, you are going to see an interface like this. You are going to see an interface like this. That's the first thing you're going to see. Now, when we see this interface, it's going to show you whether you want to create a new file or the list of recently saved works which you have done. That is what it's going to show you. So for us, we are going to close this box or press on cancel to close this box so that we can look at our space. Now, the next thing we are going to do is for us to go to File and go to Add Data and then add data. Now, there are some things you might see in Add Data which you might not understand. Like under this Add Data dialog, you are going to see Add Data. You are going to see Add Base Map. You are going to see Add Data from ArcGIS Online. Then Add XY, Geocoding, Add Route Event, and Add Query Layers. So but for this particular training, we are interested in the Add Data. For the Add XY, when you have gone to the field, remember there's a video I posted on how you can be able to use GPS to collect data from the field and export them in an Excel format, which is CSV, command eliminated text format. When you click on Add XY, it's for you to be able to import that table and those coordinates in form of points inside your GIS environment. Remember, initially I mentioned that when it comes to mapping and vector, there are two major categories of data. One is raster and one is vector. And under that vector, we have 3 categories of data sets. We have the point, the line, and the polygon. So for the XY, most times, when you see XY data, it means point data. Why does it mean point data? It means longitude and latitude, the static point of GPS point of that particular place, the longitude and the latitude, the eastern and the northern, or the X and Y. It could even be southern and western, or southern and eastern, or north and east, or whatever, depending on the location you are mapping. So for here, we're going to look at Add Data, which is the most important thing to us. Now, when we click on Add Data, we are going to get your GIS environment like this. Now, that is one of the first things you are going to do after you have created your folder. Remember that last class, we stopped at creating folder in your C drive so that you can be able to have a folder like this, a GIS folder like this on your C drive that has a C/:GIS project. Now, for you to be able to connect this folder, you need what we call folder connection. So if you go through these points, you will see up one level, home, go to default, content view, and you see connect your folder, right? So let me go back to home and let's look at it again. So if I have not connected my folder before, I might not be able to access these documents because GIS software, ArcGIS particularly work with what we call folder connection. It means you have to connect the folder of the project which you are working in. And for us to be able to connect that folder, we are going to click on this folder connect, which is this symbol here. Let me mark it using Biro. So this symbol here, that's folder connect document. So I'm going to connect it using this folder connect. And if I click on this folder connect, it's going to open up something like this, a dialog box like this with a title connect to folder. So I'm going to browse to find the folder which I want to connect. For instance, I'm trying to connect my GIS folder. I've not done it before, let's assume. I'm going to click on this PC, then local drive, and I'm going to see every folder on the local drive. If I click on this folder and press OK, I'm going to connect the folder. But here I've connected the folder earlier before now. So let me connect this particular training folder to it so that you can see how it works. So I'm going to go to the folder inside my working folder, which is called tutorial. It's tutorial here. So I click on the tutorial and I press OK. The system have connected that folder. So you can now see C drive, GIS project, and the tutorial folder. So I've connected it. So if I click on this drop down here, I will see the list of folders I've connected here. You see folder connections, GIS project tutorial. So I've connected my folder now. So I'm now going to open my working folder, which is mapping, to import our map. So I'm going to click on here, the map, and click on add. So if I click on add, the system is going to bring out this dialog box for me. He said the following data source you added is missing spatial reference. It's missing spatial reference because it does not have a coordinate inside of it. It is just like a photograph. So it's telling me that it's missing spatial reference. And that is why we want to georeference it. So we are going to say, okay. And the system is going to add the file. So the file is added now. You can see the file. But if you move around here, you can see that the location in this map is between 7 degrees, 0 minutes and 0 seconds east, and then 7 degrees, 10 minutes and 0 seconds north. But if I move my cursor here and you look somewhere down here, let me highlight the location. If you look somewhere down here, you will see the unit that is here. If I move around, you see the unit here, right? This unit here is unknown unit, and the coordinates that are shown there are not my coordinates. They are nowhere like what we are seeing here. So when we are done georeferencing, you will see the difference in the recording here. So you can see if I'm moving around, you are seeing unknown and no coordinates. So now that I've done it, the next thing I'm going to do is to add my georeferencer. I don't know whether I've added all these tools to your file. If you have not added your georeferencer, you can right click and click here, georeferencing. But when you click on it, let me remove it so that we'll see. So if I go back here and click georeferencing, it's going to pop out like this. It's now left for me to drag this georeferencer into where I want it to stay in my status bar. So now this is the georeferencer and this is the environment. So first thing I'm going to do is to zoom in so that I can be able to get this connecting line as clear as possible. And I need to get this connecting line, the line that connects this particular coordinate and this particular coordinate. So I'm supposed to get them clear so that I will not make an error while I'm georeferencing. So when I've done that, I'm going to go to this particular point, add control. Here, add control is here. Let me highlight it so that you can be able to see. This is add control. It is add control. This place circled in red is add control. So I'm going to click on it. I'm going to click on it, and it's going to give me this plus-like icon. Okay, so this plus-like icon is what I'm going to take to this point to make a mark at the place where the two lines intersect. But first of all, the system said it doesn't know our coordinates. It doesn't understand the coordinates we are working on. So the first thing we are going to do before we start making these points is to go to View here, click on Data Frame Properties, and then go to Coordinate System so that you can define the coordinate system we are working with. So for this project, you can see that we have 7 degrees, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds, which is a typical representative of geographic coordinate system. So because it's a geographic coordinate system, we are going to be working with a geographical coordinate system grid. So we are going to open up the geographical coordinate system here, this here, and then we are going to scroll down to world and open up the world. So under the world, we are going to see WGS 1984, which is what we are going to be working with. And then we'll press OK. And the system is going to make it geographical coordinate system of WGS 1984. So if you go down to that same place where we're showing the coordinates, you can see that the coordinate is wrong, but it's no longer unknown. It is now decimal degrees. So it's a geographic coordinate system. It's no longer unknown like before. But now, even when we move around with our cursor on the map, you see that the readings there are different from what we have on the map. So we are going to now take this cross and now come to this place, a place where these two lines meet, this point where these two lines meet, and then we'll make a mark. You click there. Once you click, you right click, and then you click on input DMS of longitude and latitude. If you are using a decimal degree, which is different from longitude and latitude, which is different from DMS, which is degree, minutes, and seconds, you see the coordinates like 7.1234 or 8.1 something something. These are still geographic coordinate system, but they are in a decimal degree. So the DMS stands for degree, minutes, and seconds. So if you convert the minutes and seconds to degree, you are going to get what we call DD, which is decimal degree. Now, how do we do it? For instance, let me cancel. For instance, now, look at this 7 here. This 7 here means 7 degrees, 10 minutes, and then 0 seconds, right? So let's look at how we can be able to convert it so that you understand what I'm doing. Let me open up my notepad so we can convert it. Okay. Let me stop sharing and share my notepad. So this is my notepad. So we'll have 7 degrees, 10 minutes, and 0 seconds. So let me show you why they are the same with decimal degrees. If I'm to convert this particular coordinate system to a decimal degree, I'm going to do 0 divided by 60, which is what? Which is equals to 0. Is equals to 0. And then we are going to do 7 degree, 10 minutes plus 0. We are going to now get 7 and the 10, which is 7 degrees, 10 minutes. Now and again, if I want to now convert it to decimal degree, I'm going to do 10 divided by 60. So if you have a calculator, you can be able to do it. So you can do it 10 divided by 60. 10 divided by 60. 10 divided by 60. So we have, with your calculator, you have 0.1666. So the first thing you're going to do is 7 plus 0.1666. So you are now going to have 7.1666. So this becomes the decimal degree. We call it DD, decimal degree. Why this becomes the DMS, which is degree, minutes, and seconds. Some coordinates will also come in just degrees and minutes. So still the same formula. If I want to expand these degrees and decimal degree to degree, minutes, and seconds, all I have to do is to do 0.1666 times 60. Right? Which is going to give me 10 or 9.99999, which is 10. So you see, you can also expand it. And if it has a decimal in it, you can now pick up the decimal again and multiply by 60 to get the seconds. So that is how you can be able to calculate it. So this particular one has degree, minutes, and seconds. So we are going to make our point at the place where the two lines or the two coordinates intersect. We are going to make a point where the two coordinates intersect like this. Right click and now say input degree, minutes, and seconds. If your coordinate is in decimal degree, you say input x, y. If it's in projected degree or the projected value, you put input x, y. Once it doesn't have to do with degree, minutes, and seconds. If it's decimal, whether it's projected or decimal degree, what you do is you say input x, y. So we can be able to do it. So now, the longitude of this place, which is the easting, is equals to 7 degree, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds, and it's east. So make sure that there's east and west. So make sure you select east. Then while the latitude is 7, 10, 0, and it's north. So if you are confused which one is north and east, or longitude and latitude, when you look at the ending, which is east and west, north and south, you can be able to tell which one. Also, you can also use the cardinal point to do that. Let me show you. Now, let me open up my notepad again to show you something. Or let me draw within the GIS environment so that we can get it. So if this is your cardinal point, and this is north, this is south, this is east, and this is west, right? You will see that the east to north is running from here to here, here to here, and here to here, right? So which means your line of nothing or latitude we number like this. Just like your graph, the way you number your graph. If you have used graph before, the way you number your graph from 0, 0, 5, 0, 10, 15, and all that. That's the way. So down here, which is the south, is a minus, while here, which is the north, is a plus. Here, that is east, is the plus, while the west is minus. So most times in decimal degree, you might use minus for west and don't add minus to east. When you add minus to the value, the system understands that it's west. When you don't add anything, it understands that it's east. So that's the way it works. So that is why you wonder why the numbering or the lettering of this map is the way it is. So if you scroll down now, you wonder why the nothing is numbered this way instead of this way, because its north is around here, up here. Why is it numbered this way? It's because the line is approaching from up to down. It's running from up to down. While the eastern is running from east to west, which is from right to left. The other one runs from up to down. So that is why you have that value. So we have georeferenced this particular point. Now, for you to be able to georeference a map, you need 3 points. Just like the law of geometry, when 3 locations are known, the other ones can be determined. That is the same thing that applies in georeferencing. Once you georeference or you get the location of 3, the other ones can be accurately identified. So by the time I do the 2, you see that the third one is fairly accurate, which means the system is using the law of geometry. So for here now, we are going to be using this one here. This one here. This one here, we have 7 degree, 0 minutes, 0 seconds for easting, while we have 5 degree, 50 minutes, 0 seconds for northern. So we are going to now use this particular line again and trying to do it in a clockwise direction. In anti-clockwise direction, you can also do it in clockwise direction. To click here and right click again and say input DMS. So we know that our longitude is 7, 0, 0, because it follows the pattern of the line up and it's easting. While this one is 5, 50, and 0, and it's nothing. So if I click on this thing now, the map will disappear. Why will it disappear? The map is going to disappear because the map before was covering a very large area, which is not part of the environment. But if we now goes to the place where it belongs, it's going to be tiny inside the whole environment. So if I click OK now, the map will disappear. So the map have gone to the exact location. So how do I now get the map? I go to this my layer, which is on my table of contents. Right click on it and say zoom to layer. So the system is going to bring up the map again. Now, if I move my cursor within the map, you can see the decimal degree down here. That is now 7 and 6. Because if you look down here, you see that there are some variables of 6 within here. So you see that our map is now taking shape, is now becoming more correct. So I'm going to now find the third point, which I'm going to be using. Let's use this point because we have a grid. Let's use this point. So I'm going to use this same line to find the center of this place, which I'm going to right click and then right click again and click on input DMS, which is degrees and seconds. By the time I do it, I'm going to put 750. Okay, now you can see the coordinates here now. That is almost fairly accurate. Just a slight error because I've determined the location of 2. So the longitude now is now 751, just a 1 second difference. While the other one is 550, 59, which is just a point to complete it to 1. So I'm going to now correct it here and put 0 here. While here, I'm going to make it 50 and here is 0. So you now see the system has given it easting and northing by itself. So when I have determined the location of the 2, the system have already given us the third one almost. So for us to now get a more accurate reading, we are now going to do the third one so that we have an accurate representation of our map. And I'll press OK. The map will shift a bit, adjust a bit, and now the map is correct. So whatever measurement you take within this map environment is a representative of the area because we have georeferenced it to the map. So now that I'm done georeferencing, the next thing I'm going to do is to go to this georeferencing tab here. You can see it here, georeferencing tab. Let me highlight it here. You can see there's a drop down there. So that is where we are going to go. So if I go to this georeferencing tab, somebody should mute the mic. Your voice is coming in. So once you now go to this dialog box, which is georeferencing, and scroll down, you can now see rectify. So rectify will now make whatever you have added to this map permanent. So it's now going to export it in a way that is now going to have reading or spatial reference. So if I click on rectify, it's going to open up this box and say save as. So now we are no longer saving as JPEG, we are saving as TIF. TIFF is a file format which is used by GIS to save data that have reference in it. That is why when I import our imagery, remember when I was trying to show you how to download data, you can see that those data have TIFF, which means you have a reference. You don't need to georeference it again. Once you import it, it takes the position where it belongs. So it's going to be in TIF format. And the system is asking me output location. Output location is different from output name or output. Output location means the location where I want the system to save the file. So it means the place I want the system to save the file. So if I click here and I go to my folder connection, which is tutorial, I'm going to click on mapping and click add. So the system is going to add this mapping folder to it. Right here, I can now decide to name my file how I want it to be. I might say I don't want to have all these things, all this one and all that inside. And I want to keep it like this. I want to call it Enugu georeferenced. But here, let me leave it as 1. And I'll click on save. The system is going to process the image and now save the image. So now if I remove this one now here, if I click here and say remove, and I now go back to my add file, right? And I say add later, and I go here, I'm going to see the one without grid, which is JPEG, and the one with grid. So if I click on the one with grid now and add, it is going to be automatically added to the exact location. So you see as I'm moving this mouse now, look at the reading down there, you see that it is the exact location of the file. So it is now properly georeferenced. So the map is now properly georeferenced. Okay? Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the map is now properly georeferenced now. So with this now, you can start redrawing or retracing or producing your map because it is now accurate. Now we are going to be looking at how we can be able to georeference the other map. That particular one that does not have a grid like this. How are we going to be able to do it? Some people might print it out and manually add the grid lines by themselves. But also, there is another way we can be able to do it on the system without having to print it out and add the grid lines, which is the use of Paint documents. So I think I want the training to be together so that when you watch it, you can understand it. So I'm going to probably end here, then start a new meeting, and we can now go over this process of georeferencing the other one. So just stay around for the part 2, which is how to georeference that particular map, which does not have a reference. And that by that we are looking at this particular map. We are looking at this particular version, which does not have any reference line on it. So I'll be back.